Hello everybody and welcome to The Real Housewives Edit. My name is Elle and I'm here to talk about the two loves of my life, editing and housewives. Well you guys, I probably should have changed the intro today because today I'm going to be covering an episode of Vanderpump Rules. If you don't like Vanderpump Rules or you don't watch Vanderpump Rules, this might be a good season for you to get into because it has been so exciting. For those of you who are fans of the show, this is definitely calling back to some of the earlier days. Even though the cast has totally changed in terms of their lifestyle and their age and whether they even work at SUR anymore and all of that, it's become so good this season. And there was some big news that broke over the weekend with the Ariana, Raquel, Tom Sandoval drama. I have been glued to Instagram watching those updates and that craziness. So I just had to get up here and film one of these episodes. I'm so sorry for the Housewives fans that are annoyed with me right now. I know this is outside of the scope of the channel, but I felt like because of the news of the Raquel, Ariana stuff, I just had to come and cover it. Plus, I did a poll of you guys and about 75% of you said, yes, let's get some VPR on here. So I'm gonna do it. But for all you Housewives fans, I'm going to be making it up to you guys and I'm going to be doing a couple more Housewives videos this week. So the rest of you VPR fans, let's just jump right into it. With this video, I'm going to be covering one major scene that I feel like really proved this point that the editors knew about the Raquel and Tom Sandoval stuff all along. Or at the very least, that they knew that Raquel was going to be kind of our villain. Now, maybe that's obvious to you guys, but I can tell you that for me, Raquel is such an interesting character. I've liked her since she got on the show. I always thought she was so interesting. Definitely like not my favorite person. Again, do I need to qualify this with you guys? Not someone that I would want to like hang out with necessarily, but I think there's just something on screen about her that just makes me kind of want to watch her and see what she does with her life. I think there is a bit of like, you know, Lala and other people have kind of referred to her as being more empty or there's like a vapidness. I think there's something that's really watchable about that and maybe that's consistent with some of the housewives that I like. But I just tend to kind of like her and I think she does have a villainous quality that I just like on my screen. So I'm not saying I like her. Please do not take that out of context, especially after this weekend. I am Team Ariana all the way. But I just want to talk about a little bit about Raquel and how the editors have sort of nodded to the fact that she just is, you know, not going to be making good choices in this group. So let's just jump right into it.
Yeah, you can take this one right here. Hi.
You look so cute.
You look so cute.
I need to stuff my new.
Okay, so I just love on VPR, especially the music that they use, right? So they're really trying to create this like LA scene lifestyle, right? They always show like, you know, the streets of LA, Santa Monica Boulevard, you know, palm trees. The music is always very poppy. And it also always like kind of draws from what's on screen. And here you see Raquel walking in to meet up with Katie and Lala, and the music behind her is this like kind of poppy song like Feel Like $1,000,000. Especially where the editors are concerned, they use music so specifically. If you've watched the channel, you know this is true. But with pop music too, they want to kind of allude to what's happening on screen. And so they probably have a lot of choices of this, you know, royalty-free or music that they've purchased for the show. And they're picking what works. And I think that little music cue actually really worked for Raquel because there's something really, it's interesting about Raquel right now, especially. I feel like, as the kids say, she's really feeling herself. Like, I think she knows she's a bit of like a star. She had sort of a star turn last season, which I didn't watch, but when she gave the ring back to James and kind of like everyone kind of was on her side and really into her. So I think she's really feeling like she's, you know, a bit of a star and she can do no wrong. So I do feel like that song really just went along with how she feels walking into this dinner. So let's just keep going.
Stuff my new Tiggle bitties in that.
I have my little pads.
I love it.
Yeah. Can I get some drinks started for you?
Okay, so just like the Housewives, right, they're gonna show the order. They have this peppy, upbeat music. They're talking about, you know, the way she looks in that dress, you know, it's sort of like just this little moment. Sometimes you'd be like, oh, why would they leave that in besides, why would they leave that moment in with the dress and with Lala besides just it happening. There's so much that they cut out. Why would they not cut that out? I believe it's just to sort of connect with us as the audience and kind of show that there's a little bit of like a sisterhood going on, right? So Lala's kind of giving her compliments. They're kind of like, when they talk more about like intimate details, I feel like it just feels like the relationship's getting closer, almost like a sisterly vibe. So I think they left that in there on purpose. It's not just like, oh, let's just leave it in there. It's really like, let's show that the bonds are getting a little bit deeper, that they're kind of, you know, the relationships are going a little bit further, especially because Lala and Raquel used to have some sort of drama because Lala was so terrible to her.
Do you have sparkling water in a bottle?
Yeah.
Do you have reposado tequila?
I do, yes. Can I have a dirty martini? Sure.
Oh,
Is Tito's okay?
Are you guys?
Okay, so all this ordering, again, lively, upbeat music. The audience is supposed to feel, oh my gosh, this is just gonna be a lively girls' dinner. But if you watch the Real Housewives edit, you know you're feeling this upbeat, you know, drinks and everything's coming. Something is coming. They're not just gonna be talking about, you know, shopping or drink orders or fun stuff that, you know, we should all just be talking to each other about, the light, easy stuff. The conversation is going to take a turn. Otherwise, why would they leave this scene in? That's really what you got to be thinking. If you really want to think like an editor, watch scenes and go, why did they leave this in? Because every single scene should bring you to a certain story point, bring you to a character point. Everything needs to be driving the story and the episode forward. If it's not driving it, there's literally no reason to put it in. If you ever are watching a movie and you're watching a scene and you feel like totally checking your phone or walking out of the room and getting a snack or whatever, it's usually because that scene isn't really driving anywhere. It's not giving us anything. It's not giving us character development. It's not giving us storyline development. So if it's a good show, which this is right now, every scene should drive us forward. And so we should know this isn't just going to be about drink orders, right?
Tito's okay?
Are you guys gonna get a little buzzed?
Yeah, I Ubered here. Well, I just came from work, so like rushed up
Like
the hill.
sir work?
Sir work, yeah.
Raquel.
Okay, so they, you know, Raquel kind of says, you know, she's still working at SUR, which we can believe it or not, I don't know, but I don't know, maybe she is working at SUR. She says the thing, I'm working at SUR, and then Lala's like, are like SUR work? And she's like, yes. And then there's this big sort of like cymbal sound, and Lala's reaction is sort of like, that's weird, right? That should sort of be a moment for us, like, why is she giving her this look? Why is it weird about her working at SUR, right? So it kind of makes you want to keep watching. So let's see what she says.
Elle and I left our relationships, and there's something very sweet and inspiring about when you leave everything you're used to behind.
Okay, so it doesn't really explain it. To me as the viewer, and kind of when I pick these scenes apart, I really feel like I'm like, why did Lala give that look? Maybe because Raquel really doesn't work at SUR. I don't know. Maybe she's like kind of giving it away to the audience that this is not, you know, plus they did that kind of cymbal sound. I have no idea. I would love to hear your guys' reactions below, but Lala's face just gave it away too much of being like, well, why were you at SUR? Like, were you really working there? And then this confessional doesn't really clarify that look any further. Lala also, though, just as sort of like a baseline, if you will, she's very expressive with her face, like almost like overtly, and sometimes almost like doesn't really have anything to do with what's going on in the scene. She can be very like overly, it's almost like she's trying things on. I don't know if you guys are around kids a lot, but I see with my own kids, and I see, you know, kids I've worked with in the past, like they try things on, like they're like, oh, I'm confident today. And so they give these looks and they say these things where you're sort of like, okay, they're trying stuff. You know what I mean? They're trying stuff out. I feel like Lala does that a lot. Like no shade to her. I think she's a great character for the show. I don't know. I would love to hear your guys' thoughts, but that look was just kind of totally out of the blue. And I was like, why did the editors leave that in?
You don't know what the your future holds, but you know you'll be okay.
Posado soda.
Thank you. Can we please cheers just real quick? Yes. To being single.
Okay, so now we're sort of, as an audience watching this going, oh, okay, so this is what the scene is about. A bunch of single ladies, that's right. Lala left her relationship, Raquel left her relationship, Katie left her relationship. Okay, this is the single ladies club. So now are we getting into single lady drama? Are they going to be talking about dating? Are they going to be talking about, you know, Raquel's already cried over James when she went on that date with Peter. So is there going to be more talk about that? You know, like what is actually coming down the pike? Now I will be getting to the stuff about Raquel being a villain. Do not worry, we're getting there.
Single life, and to you and I dodging motherfucking bullets.
Yes.
Raquel felt a little vacant when she was with James.
Come on, you cannot be this dumb.
I'm not done, Lala.
Okay, so they had to call back to that moment, especially because we're seeing Lala and Raquel sort of getting along. I think they do this a lot over Bravo, where we see characters sort of getting along in a scene, and it's almost like editor shade, like giving us a little wink, wink, nod, nod, like, remember they used to hate each other? So they found a way to work in that they used to hate each other. Not only does it just make the scene more interesting to see flashbacks and see them, you know, before, but also it does provide a little bit of conflict. It raises the stakes a little bit. These girls who are now commenting on each other, how they look and how cute they are and cheersing to each other, they used to literally hate each other, and Lala used to call her dumb. You know, that's like, wow, the stakes are raised a little bit. I also want you guys to see in this flashback footage how it's so faded. The color is so faded, almost black and white, except the orange color, sort of like bright colors popping out. There's no real reason to do it except that it kind of looks cool. Whenever I see stuff like this, I think it's kind of silly, and I think the editors know that, to kind of play with that color and have certain colors pop. But I also think about that this is going to look so outdated in like 10 or 20 years. It almost looks outdated now, but I don't think they care. They're not trying to make it like cool. They're just trying to try some stuff out for the flashbacks.
But now, Raquel really seems to have come into her own. And I'm seeing things happening up here.
Are you talking to Ray?
Okay, so that was like, she's trying to be nice, it seems like, but that was such a shady line.
And I'm seeing things happening up here.
Kind of like her brain is working, and then you can hear the music end when she says that, which is actually to add a little bit of comedic effect, and then they cut straight out of her confessional, go straight back to the scene. That is also a way to add comedic effect, is kind of cutting it off really quick and making us go right back to it. It should give us a little bit of a laugh.
So talking to Randall.
We communicate through the app that our lawyers had us download. The app is really used for people in like high conflict custody cases. Text messages mean...
Do you see how they're cutting back and forth between the wide and Lala's close-up? There's no real reason to tell you guys this, except that I just noticed this and I'm like, they're literally cutting every other word of hers. They're going wide, close-up, wide, close-up, wide, close-up. That to me tells me that they're probably cutting down what she said a lot. They are using the coverage to sort of make her sentence a little bit more concise, or else they probably would have just kind of hung the camera on her in one angle. It's just a little bit distracting to be going wide to close so much, but you have to do that if you're cutting up what she's saying.
Mean nothing. So with the app, it's like, it's authenticated. That's where I'm at. It's like a non-stop, and it's...
Which is strange too, because she's saying the same thing. It's not like she's jumping around topics and they're making her jump around. She's talking about this app for so long. So maybe it was just an editor's choice to go wide. Sometimes you want to go wide to get a little bit more of the scene, to get a little bit of scope, to kind of feel more like you're there and kind of see all the players in their places and kind of get the atmosphere a little bit more. If they were just close up on the girls all the time, we wouldn't really get to picture where they are exactly in space and time. But I don't know, just a thought.
Torture. That's how I feel. Like, I went to Tom's today to take the dogs there, and right before that, he'd done Sheena's podcast.
She wanted to talk about the divorce, but in a healthy, positive way.
Why? I don't...
No, respectfully.
Okay, so then basically what they're doing is talking about each of their issues right now, right? So Lala's talking about her issue with Rand. Katie's talking about going, over to Schwartz's house with these dogs. I just feel like that relationship, this is just my opinion, but I'm like, Katie she wants him, but she wants a different him. Like, that they've been married now for so long. I know there's been cheating and all that stuff, or lots of stuff that's gone down between the two of them, but I feel like there's like such a connection between them, but it's really just, Katie just wants him to be something else, which I think is really like common that I've seen with people when they break up. It's just like, I just want you to be just this. I don't want this part of you or this part of you. I just want this one part of you. I just see it. It makes me sad. It makes me sad that their relationship, you know, that it didn't work out. But I know there were bad things, so I'm not even going to get into it. Let's keep going.
What did she ask?
Just
And he's like, you know, she's been like really like nudging me, pushing me into like dating, and it's like always like Raquel, and I'm just like, oh wait, she's
Okay, so when Katie starts bringing up the thing like, you know, Sheena's always been pushing me, Raquel, right? They cut to Raquel, and then she drinks her drink, almost like what? She has a secret. There's a little bit of a secret there. Now, I know what you guys are saying, like, okay, this has nothing to do with Sandoval, like this is the Schwartz drama with her, you know, asking Schwartz to make out and all that stuff. It's definitely proving that point. But I just think there's a little bit more there that the editors are showing. Let's keep watching.
Pushing Raquel onto Tom?
yeah. She like really wants. Did she try to push you on Schwartz?
Okay, so that right there, you know, Lala asks, and then Lala's like, can't believe it. Like, how dare she push Raquel onto Tom? They cut back to Raquel. I have no idea if that's really what happened. I have this feeling that Raquel was probably engaged in the conversation more than just drinking her drink. But by putting that in there of her just drinking her drink and there's silence, it says so much more. Again, I don't know if it was the editor's trick or if it's what actually happened, but it just said so much in that moment without her saying anything at all.
A little bit.
Shut the up. Are you being serious? Like, what is the tone when she tries to do that?
She's like, you and Schwartz should make out, or like.
Okay, so I really want you guys to watch some music here, right? So Raquel is sort of, it looks like what we think it's gonna be is Raquel being like, it's just bad. I didn't even want to talk about it, but it's so silly that Sheena's doing this. She's pushing me into this, right? So as she's talking, you get this music. It's got a little energy. It's almost like a gossipy type music.
Like, what is the tone when she tries to do that?
She's like, you and Schwartz should make out.
Oh, some gossip is coming up. They're talking to each other about this thing. Like, this is crazy. Can you believe it? Etc. etc. Let's just keep watching.
You know, like things like that.
I have not heard Sheena's podcast with Schwartz yet, but it's a total act of betrayal. Sheena was a...
So now they're really focusing the whole conversation on Sheena, right? So us as an audience are going like, oh my gosh, Sheena, I can't believe she did this. Raquel's over here. She's kind of innocent in it, right? And the music is sort of leading us to that. Let's keep watching.
Sheena was a bridesmaid, my bridesmaid, in my wedding. And when Sheena went through her divorce, I supported her. How would she have felt if I was trying to hook up Shay?
It's just a crazy situation that Sheena, who is one of my favorites on VPR, is doing this. Like, I know Katie says it later in the episode, but like, seriously, she needs to just stay out of this. Like, I would say so far away from this. I understand what Sheena said. She's like, oh, Katie said she wants him to date. I would still stay far away. I don't know why Sheena is doing this, but I'm sure we'll find out.
Shay with one of my girlfriends. She would have been livid.
And what do you say? Just like, okay.
I'm like, haha, no, never, you know? And then like, I think about it more.
Okay, so here is our moment. Here's our moment, not only just Raquel as this sort of thing, you know, with Schwartz, like seeing these moments with Schwartz, but oh my gosh, like just that she is more trouble than we know. That's all I could see. When I saw this scene, I was like, oh, she's so much more trouble than we know, which brings me back to this weekend full of Instagram drama where I was watching it unfold with this Ariana stuff that I just can't even believe what's going on there, how she was actually, they're saying there was a whole affair going on like for so long. Anyway, when she says this, right, so she's kind of responding to them, telling them like, oh yeah, I told her like, no way, I would never do that. And then they hang the camera on Katie, and you can see it in this moment right here when she says,
and then like, I think about it more.
like almost like Katie's on a delay. She hears it, she registers it, and then as soon as she looks up like, oh, what the heck did you just say? You hear that little knife sharpening sound. And it is so telling that they put that sound there. They hung the camera on Katie, right? They didn't rush that moment. They really let it breathe. And that's where I feel like we really got insight into the fact that the editors know that Raquel is much more like trouble than just asking Schwartz to make out. Honestly, I don't know why that moment right there. I watched this episode before obviously all of the drama came out with Ariana, and I watched that and I said, oh no, this girl is a burn it down type of girl. The girl who can go out and say, you know, and then I think about it. I mean, let's just keep going.
I do like Schwartz a lot. I don't know, like I wouldn't.
Okay, so she says that almost like she's talking to someone who has nothing to do with this group. Like that someone who would just like asked her, like her sister or something, and she's like, okay, well, let me confide in you. Like I would never do it, but I really like him, you know, blah, blah, blah. The fact that she's talking to Schwartz's ex-wife and a friend who was just saying like, how dare Sheena even mention that at all, is just, I was like, oh, she's crazy. Like she's literally capable of anything. Like that is crazy. So when she said that, you got the look on Katie, you got another knife sharpening sound, you get this look from Lala, which I feel feels like so real, that look from Lala. Like I am trying to hold myself together right now. I don't even know what to say. She does say something. Let's just keep going.
I don't know. Like I wouldn't ever date him seriously though.
Are you out of your damn mind?
Well, hold up.
Okay. So hanging the camera on Katie, where she is literally just looking at Raquel like, I don't know if I'm hearing what I actually think I'm hearing, right? And then they cut to her confessional, which is saying what everyone is thinking watching this, like, is she actually serious saying this? She has no shame about it. And really, that's what, you know, I talked about it just a minute ago, but it really did clue me into like, oh, Raquel's totally like on another planet. I don't know about you guys. I don't even care if the person who I was friends with was totally over the guy that she used to be with or married to. I can't even imagine a world saying this to someone who is divorced from that person. Like, I just can't even imagine it. And I'm trying to have you guys put yourself in those shoes of imagining it. And to me, I'm like, if someone can actually imagine it and do it, and they're not, it's not like she's like, you know, 10 shots in or something, like just acting silly. She's just totally like serious about this. I remember thinking in this, she's capable of so much more debauchery, and it's gonna make for a good season. And then 1 week later, what happened?
Hold up. This is when I will step in and defend my friend at all costs. And if we want bodies laying everywhere.
So Lala comes in and she starts going, and the funniest cut they did, they cut to Raquel and she's drinking water, right? Which is almost like a sign like, I'm sobering up. I know she wasn't not sober, but it's kind of like that, like, ooh, I gotta sober up for this. She does this like,
and if we
in the middle of what Lala's saying, and I thought that was just so funny that the editors cut to that. I don't know if that's actually what happened in the moment, but it was actually, to me, very funny, that moment.
It's gonna be you hooking up with Schwartz. I mean, I get messy, but like, I wouldn't even do that shit.
To be like, just like in each other, like just because would be like a little weird.
And then the editors just keep cutting back to Raquel, and the look on Raquel's face is like, I don't know how to explain it. I just, it feels like she almost doesn't even realize that what she said could have been taken in a bad way. It's just, it's interesting. I'm not commenting on her intelligence. These cutbacks to me, it just just showed me that the editors know there's something going on with her that's strange. Like, it's strange. It's strange for her to say that and then to not be like I can imagine, what if she said that and she was like, oh my gosh, no, you guys are right. You guys are right. No, you're totally right. Like, kept responding sort of in that way. But the fact that she's just looking at them like, wait, what did I say that was wrong? It's terrifying. It's terrifying to me.
A little
Lady, your feelings would be so hurt by that, and I don't even want you to pretend like they wouldn't.
I will say right now, I don't think I'm ready to see that or be.
Okay. And then they cut back to her again, and she's sort of giving a look like, almost like, why? And the reason why I bring up these reaction shots, you guys, is because reaction shots mean the world. The way that she's reacting to them right now tells us as an audience that trouble is afoot, and that she's not really hearing them, and that she doesn't really understand them. And they could have picked these reaction shots from other stuff, but honestly, I feel like they just used exactly what was happening in the moment.
Be there just yet.
Nothing's happened.
Well, I know
Like-
that, but
If I did even entertain the fact, it wouldn't be okay. Like, I don't want any serious relationship. Like, I'm so.
So again, they're letting all of this play out. It really is just like there's two planets, that speak two different languages trying to speak. Like you can see the looks on Katie and Lala's faces, and then you see Raquel almost like she's like telling them why she would buy, you know, a pink bag over a blue bag. Like there's just no even understanding. And honestly, it brought me to the point when I saw the stuff about Ariana this weekend and all that stuff. I was like, oh, like I could see her justifying this thing that she did with Tom Sandoval and just justifying it and thinking it was fine, just like she's justifying it here. Like she's totally justifying this, and the editors are leaving in all of these moments to really show us, to the audience, like this is a problem. She's a problem.
So done with that. And I think especially because I was so loyal to James for the past 5 years.
yeah. You were.
And I keep hearing things that he was with.
And then the strangest thing, to turn it onto herself. Like, I would never do that because I was loyal to someone and heard that there were things going on. Now, of course, now we're going to get into some stuff where Lala tells Raquel that she actually cheated with James. So really, when it comes down to it, Vanderpump Rules is just a bunch of people doing bad things, a bunch of bad people doing bad things. Like, let's be honest. I don't know why. Like, there's so many bad turns that all of these relationships have taken, right? So, I mean, everyone's going super hard on Raquel, and I understand why, because it was so hard. Like, the way that they're saying it went down, she was like in the house, and I mean, and we just all love Ariana. It's just crazy. I literally just wanted to cover those little moments of Raquel where she's giving those looks and how the editors were really letting those looks breathe, because I just thought they were so telling, and I just think they are so indicative of what happened on this past weekend on social media and why it did not surprise me whatsoever. And I think that the editors knew there was more going on under the hood than we even knew. I think that the Schwartz stuff, you know, her asking him, hey, you know, you want to make out or whatever, I think the editors knew that was the tip of the iceberg, because remember, the editors see everything. They see all of the tiny little moments. There was this other little moment right here, and I'm not going to cover this whole scene, but I just want to show you guys this one little moment. Take a look.
Stop living your life for how she's going to feel or react to something you do.
There was something about that moment where they're talking about Katie and they're talking about her to Schwartz, and the way Raquel does this little thing where she's like snapping her fingers, I will never forget it. When I saw that moment right there, I said, this is a mean girl. The way that she's talking about this girl to her ex-husband behind her back, and just that little move, I don't know, there was something about her snapping her fingers that gave me vibes of all of the girls that I've ever met over my lifetime who have tried to wreck a home. I don't know if you guys know these women, but I've known them since like middle school, where you'd meet these girls that would like, you'd have a crush and they'd come over and like hug the crush for too long in front of you, and it would just absolutely rip your heart out. And those girls, I've continued to see girls like that. I'm not getting into the bad behaviors of the men I've known over my life. I'm just talking about that specific certain girl. Maybe you guys know what I'm talking about. Put it in the comments below. And guys, I know you guys have it too, where there are certain guys in your life. There's just this like weird competitive type of girl who just doesn't understand the girl code, doesn't want any part of it, wants to be cooler with the guy than she wants to be with the girl. That is always a big red flag for me. And I felt like in that moment right there where I saw Raquel do her little like, it was almost like she was celebrating, like there was a little bit of like a celebratory feel to her being able to talk to Schwartz and say like, oh yeah, we flirt and you know, your wife needs to get over it. I was like, she's mean, she's awful, she's terrible, she's a villain, right? I'm sure she's a fine person, but I'm saying on the show, she's a villain. And I feel like that was intentionally left in there. So you guys, thanks so much for indulging me on this episode of Vanderpump Rules. I'm going to get back to Housewives. If you guys like this and the coverage of VPR, then please let me know in the comments below. If you watch this and you're just a Housewives fan and you just watched it because you wanted to support, I love you so much. I am so sorry that you had to sit through this, but this is a really good season to get into Vanderpump because there is so much character development, so much storyline going on, so many storylines. It's just fun. It makes it more watchable, more fun when you have lots of storylines, not just one that's getting tired like I feel it is on Real Housewives of New Jersey. I feel like some of the storylines are getting tired. And so, you know, when you have a lot of storylines that are variated, that have different sort of feels to them, it makes for a really rich viewing experience. So I hope you guys are enjoying it as much as I am. And until next time.
No, never, you know? And then like, I think about it more.
Okay.